You're in the frame, you're good. Whenever you're ready, I'll start.
$21 trillion. That's a big number, right? More money than you can probably imagine. In 2019, that was the government debt of the US government. So this comes upon slowly, and it accumulates over time. And it needs a solution. We can't just have this much money that we owe. And one solution that's come up is a change to our healthcare system, mainly a universal healthcare system. And this is a very political issue. So your main sides in this would usually be the Democrats and the Republicans. And in this case, the Democrats are pushing a universal healthcare system that will save the government and citizens money. On the other hand, Republicans don't agree with what they say are facts, and that it's not going to work, it will lose money. So the main issues that they argue against is, can we as a government and as a people afford a universal healthcare system? And if we adopt a universal healthcare system, will this affect the access citizens have to healthcare when they have a problem? So with the first issue, the Democrats' view on this is, yes, this system will save us money. Because what it does is, when you need healthcare, like for a broken limb or such, the government will pay your medical bills for you. So you don't have to worry about a health situation ruining your life with crippling debt. So instead, the government takes care of your bills, and you can fix your problems, and then you will end up being able to go back to your normal life. In an article, "We Can't Afford to Live Without Medicare for All" by Diane Archer, she says, Medicare for all would reduce national health spending by $2 trillion over 10 years. So what she is saying is that the government will save huge amounts of money with this system, and that in turn it would affect citizens as well to save money. On the other hand, the Republican view is that this system isn't really realistic for us. That we have such a large population, and if everyone has these problems, the costs are going to be huge. So what it'll do is, like someone with a broken limb that needs fixed, they take up space in the hospital, and that drives costs up. And then with all these millions of people with with a health issue, especially with like prescription drugs, they can be expensive, and this will drive up the national debt instead of saving us money. And according to the article, "Healthcare for All, Affordability for None," the author Rosenman says, affordable health care for all from government is an economic oxymoron. And then with the other issue of how will access be affected, the Democrats, they don't see a problem. Like, they don't think it will affect it negatively. They think that, well, you have people that can't afford health care, but if the government pays for it, now they'll be able to use it. So the pool of people that are going to use this health care under the universal health care system, you'll have more people able to use health care, but that overall you won't have like too many people using it at once. In the article, "Universal Health Care, What's Holding Us Back," Gaffney, the author, says, When people don't have to worry about ruinous medical bills, they tend to use more healthcare, increasing costs. But such rises in utilization are likely to be modest. So what he's saying is that yes, more people will use it, but they're not going to be on the extreme where we won't be able to manage it. And with this issue, the Republicans, they don't agree, because comparing to countries that use a universal healthcare system, like Canada and Britain, they compared the number of specialized surgeries with like very specific health problems, and by the millions of population, the US does almost double the specialized surgeries than those countries. It varies with the specific surgery, but overall America usually does much better with our current system with specialized surgeries. And they also think that access will be restricted because we only have so many doctors, and if everyone wants to use it, then we won't be able to manage it, and so they won't all be able to use it, causing an increase in length of time before your issue is resolved. So, stated in the article by Moffitt, universal health care would ruin the care Americans already like. In the British National Health Service, there are more than 4 million people awaiting hospitalization. Their issues can't be resolved because there's no room in the hospital. So what it comes down to in this argument, the main problem that we're arguing with is, can we afford to adopt this system? Because on a political level, money is what everything comes down to. Now, it's very opinionated between both sides, but what they do agree on is that our current national debt is a problem and that we need to do something to fix it. And that our current healthcare system, with prescription drugs rising enormously, that our current healthcare system is not perfect, but the ways to resolve these issues, they can't agree on. Thank you.
All right, got our questions, answers?
So how will this affect, like you said, the prescription drug crisis? Because some people fake being injured to get more medicine. Would this provoke them to do it more often since they don't have to pay for it?
With that scenario specifically, I didn't see that wasn't the issue with like addiction, but in the case of prices, it's again on both sides. But the side for the Democrats, they do think that the prices will drop as the government is paying for it. There's less competition between the companies to drive up prices. Yeah.
Overall, if we did go with, universal healthcare, how much would that cost us?
And
Would it
again,
not cost us? Or?
that's what they argue with. As the Democrats say, they think that it will actually save up the government money. And as a transition, it will cost money to transition, and especially with taxes and like the insurance companies not using insurance anymore with the government paying for it. So they do think there's some costs, but that over time they will drop and our debt will drop. Yeah.
So will our taxes go up then?
In some cases, they do think taxes may go up, but then think about insurance. You're not paying for health insurance anymore because the government's paying for it. So they basically say the money you spend on insurance you'll pay some amount of that towards taxes instead.
Good job.